beautifully spiced, so totally rich and flavoursome. This Malaysian curry is one of those need to know. This is my version of Malaysian Kapitan Chicken. Guys, this is like one of the world's great curries. I mean, I love this so much. As you can see, I'm already really excited about it. Let's get going on the curry paste first of all. And yes, we're gonna make our own curry paste. Yes, it will be easy, I promise. Start off with some chilies. So I'm using dried chilies. So you need to soak them in some hot water first just to soften them up. So I've done that and I'm gonna just squeeze them out a little bit. Now you want to keep a hold of that chili soaking liquid. Always keep the chili soaking liquid when you're making a curry paste, because sometimes you just need to add a little bit more liquid into your food processor to kind of get it blending really well. Always better to add watery liquid rather than oil. That's my big tip for making curry paste. The oil kind of emulsifies things and changes the texture and you don't get a good blend. So there you go. Now we want to add our aromatics. So we've got galangal and ginger. And these guys might look a little similar, but not the same. Galangal has like a really lovely like pine citrus kind of flavor that it adds. Ginger is a little bit more mellow. Now, if you can't find galangal, just give it a go with the ginger, which I know is easier to find. But if you can, pop the galangal in there as well. So you just need to peel these guys and then just a rough chop. Now we also want some lemongrass here. So one of my big tips for, I guess, keeping and storing some of these ingredients is that lemongrass, your galangal, ginger, and the kaffir lime leaves that I'm gonna add a bit later, they all freeze really well. So if you can get a delivery of these or find them at an Asian grocery store, just stock up, keep them in the freezer, and then you can make, you know, these sorts of curry pastes. And you'll find, like, you know, our Thai curry paste, Malaysian curry paste often use those same sorts of ingredients, the galangal and the lemongrass and that sort of thing. So good ingredients to have on hand if you want to keep cooking your lovely sort of Southeast Asian dishes. Now these outer stalks can be a little tough, so I take them off. But don't throw them away, because I can put them back into the curry to kind of infuse the sauce a little bit later on. Now these tender parts you want to slice. Now for some shallots. And some garlic. Now for the shrimp paste. So shrimp paste, guys, is an ingredient that is really great, adds a huge amount of like saltiness and umami, but don't smell it. Because it is kind of whiffy, but it will make a difference. So shrimp paste, just one of those things, just don't smell it. I want some salt in here as well. Now let's start blending. So now if I open this up, you can see, and this is like the difference between using a mortar and pestle and using a blender for a curry paste. A blender just sort of chops things, whereas with a mortar and pestle, you're really kind of getting a smush, which releases more of the like aromas and flavors and all those things. So to try and help this blender along and get it to smush things a little more, I'm gonna add some of that chili liquid. Now just push everything down a little, blend again. Okay, so at this point you should be smelling some really wonderful things, possibly having like a bit of like a chili cough as well. So this is the kind of situation we're looking at here, a much more pasty kind of look, which is great. And now those of you who are familiar with this dish might be thinking, oh no, Marion forgot the turmeric. No, I didn't. I just don't like to put the turmeric in my blender because it makes my blender yellow and that annoys me. OCD. All right, I'm just gonna add my turmeric in now. Now we'll come back to the curry paste a little later on. Let's talk about our chicken. So you guys know I'm a legs and thighs girl. I really need to get those t-shirts printed, don't I? Anyway, I've got chicken Marylands here, or are they called chicken supremes as well? I'm not sure, but anyway, Marylands is what we call them here in Australia. And I'm just gonna cut them into more manageable pieces though. So I want a thigh piece and a drumstick piece. So before we get started on cooking our curry, let's pay some respect to the historical story behind this dish. This dish comes from nyonya cooking, it's a very beautiful cuisine. It has a mix of Chinese, Malay, and Indian influences. It's one of my favorite cuisines to eat when I'm traveling in Malaysia. And this dish in particular, apparently the story goes, there was a Chinese chef on board a British ship. He discovered a beautiful Malay chicken curry, decided to make it for his captain, but didn't have a name for it. So he just named it Kapitan Chicken. So there you go. That's the story. If you have a different version of the story, I love how there's always different versions. Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, enough of the history. Let's get cooking. I'm gonna start off with a little bit of oil. And now add your curry paste. Now the reason you always wanna fry off your curry paste in a little bit of oil or fat at the beginning is so that we can kind of mellow out all those harsh, raw, raw garlic, raw shallot kind of flavors. And also to kind of heat up and get those spices releasing all of their lovely flavors and aromas. Now this only takes like a minute or so, but you'll see when your curry paste is ready because the oil that we added sort of starts to separate out of the curry paste. You can see it sort of sizzling around the edges there. So now I know that I'm good to go in with my chicken. Now just give that chicken a really good mix so it's like coated in that paste and is just starting to color from that heat. Now we're going to go in with a few more aromatics here. So these guys here are magruit lime leaves. They add a really beautiful lime citrus flavor. Again, these freeze really well, and also they're really easy to grow. So look that up if you plan on making a lot of Southeast Asian curries. But to get the best out of them, you want to really scrunch them up to kind of get their flavor and oils releasing and throw them in. Now we've got the lemongrass sort of outer husk stalks that we saved from earlier. And now we can go in with some coconut milk. We also need a little bit of water here. Now you want to give your curry time to get all those flavors in there, making friends, and also to get that chicken really nice and tender. So I'm going to give this about 30 minutes at a low simmer. Now, currently your kitchen should be smelling so beautifully spiced and amazing right now. We just want to do some final little finishing touches on our curry here. So this final little bit of seasoning, I think, for any good curry is really essential. So I'm just going to taste the sauce. Oh, wow. That is like such a big, huge, amazing flavor. We do need a little bit of extra things here. So I'm gonna sweeten this up just a touch with a little bit of sugar. And then I kind of want a bit more of a kind of citrusy note here. So I'm just gonna add in some lime juice. It's always great to add lime juice at the end because the longer you kind of simmer your lime juice, the more it will mellow out. So this will give this a really nice fresh pop at the end. I want some salt here as well. Okay, now we should be looking good. Let's get this out into a serving bowl. Now this is really beautiful served with some steamed rice or some flaky roti. But the important thing is, let's get in here and try this chicken curry. It's smelling so good. You know what I always think is so magical about curries is you take all these huge flavors like garlic and ginger and galangal, and then you make something that's so beautifully harmonious and literally like a little symphony kind of going on. Ah, that is so good. Yum.
If you've got any comments or questions, pop them below. And if you enjoyed the video, why not hit that subscribe button plus the little bell one, and that way you'll get notified every time I release a new video. Thanks guys.